Good guy. All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Middles Open. I'm Michael Morris. Sitting with me, as always, Doug Risher. Doug, how are you?
Very good. How are you doing, man?
It's none of your business.
Okay,
We have a
sorry to
special
ask.
guest today, a friend of ours from the pit, DeAndre Martin. DeAndre, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. Now, we suckered him in because we need him for a different project, but I thought he's going to sit in because he's from Cleveland and he will understand misery in sports because of that.
Yes.
Is that fair to say,
Misery
DeAndre?
in sports goes hand in hand,
It's
right?
fair to say. It's fair to say.
Yeah. So I know that Doug and I, our favorite conversation is how much people make, how much money they make. Not just in sports, but people that we see in the
Just in
hallway and we go,
general.
they are overpaid.
What does that guy make?
Yeah.
The paper boy.
Well,
Always $2.
We actually know what Bryce Harper is going to make.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of money.
So $330 million, the biggest contract that's ever been offered. The biggest thing here that I'm seeing is 3 guys collectively got paid over $1 billion.
That is insane to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You
But-
got 3 guys, and one of them wasn't even a free agent. Arenado from the Rockies, they gave him $35 million a year just to make sure that he didn't enter free agency.
Right.
But
How do I get that gig, man?
Right.
Well,
Just to make sure you don't do something, we're going to pay you $35 mil just so you don't enter free agency. Okay.
you should try that with the station. You should
I'm
walk
going to
down.
do that. Hey,
DeAndre
boss,
can't do that. DeAndre, if you went back to the pit and said, "Listen, I'm gonna need more money," they're gonna be like, "Give us back the keys. You're
yeah,
out."
Yeah, you're out.
The biggest problem that I see, though, is people are still saying baseball is declining, that attention to the sport is declining while money is going up.
Right.
So I did a little research to figure this out.
You did research.
I did.
I'm
I
scared.
read an article and almost all the words in it. So when I was looking at it,
That was a tough one.
let me tell you where the money is coming from these contracts.
Okay.
They're coming from the MLB app, the
Okay.
At Bat app, which is $19.99 for the season if you just want to watch the radio part or listen to the radio part. If you want to watch the TV part, it's $29.99 to do that. They're
On
getting
your phone or iPad
yeah,
or whatever.
and they're
Okay.
getting multiple millions of people to sign up for it, right? So that's number one. The TV deals, like the Yankees have the Yes Network. They've always had that for at least the last decade. The Cubs are getting their own. Sinclair is going to buy that. Media companies, sponsorship dollars are what's keeping the game going, and that's where these big contracts are coming from. However, when's the last time either one of you went and sat for a game? Not Diamond Dog Night. I'm not counting that.
I was going to say maybe the Clippers with my kids, but I haven't been to an MLB game in a while, man. I mean, especially since we don't have a team here in town, but
Yeah.
Indians probably.
Been since I was maybe 5.
Wow, so it's been a long
5?
time. So a couple years
Is
ago.
it fair to say you're older than 10? So it's been a while.
It's been 25 years.
And you have no desire to go. Do you ever watch the games on TV?
No, I feel like it's boring. I watched the Indians when we was in
That is
the
also boring.
series.
But but you're from Cleveland, so you
Yes.
watched it because that's your hometown team.
Right, exactly.
But you wouldn't go to pay you wouldn't go to the stadium and pay to park and everything else.
No, I wouldn't go if I got free tickets, probably.
Wow. That's
Yeah, well,
pretty
even if you get free tickets, it ends up costing you a fortune. So, like, I don't personally enjoy baseball as much as the other sports, so I haven't purchased tickets to a game in forever. So I think it's declining, like you were saying. But with these exorbitant amounts of money that they're throwing at these players, they've got to be making money still, obviously.
Well, that's the thing. So last year was the record revenue year for Major League Baseball, and it was $10.3 billion.
Oh, that's it.
But but that's what I think is odd is when you look at a stadium, they almost don't want to show the outfield fence anymore when someone's hitting a home run on a Wednesday in the middle of the day because no one's there.
Yeah, it's empty.
And you're just saying, where's this money coming from to keep this going? Because if it wasn't for the league contracts, if it wasn't for the apps, how many people you see wearing baseball stuff everywhere? Like Bryce Harper, everyone's going to wear that, kind
Right.
of like Jordan gear,
Right.
but they're not wearing anybody else on the Phillies.
Right.
They don't care.
No, that makes sense. I mean, like with everything else in the world these days, I think the internet is cutting in on everything. Everybody can watch everything on their iPads or phones now, or their PC at work, So why go to the game when you can watch it right from your phone? So, like you said, they're making all this revenue from all these apps and these new products they're coming up with. But like you said, no one's going to the games, but they got to be making money at those parks somehow. So, I mean, unless people are going to go see this guy, though, I guarantee it. at least for a while.
Have you all heard about the virtual reality thing for the NBA?
I did see. I don't understand what that is. It's like the Oculus thing where you're like in the game. What is? I don't even understand what that is. That looks like NBA 2K like 08, and I'm like, I don't know that I want to look at that.
I wonder if they're going to try to do the same thing for baseball, maybe.
Well, what I think the problem with baseball is there's not a way to really engage people like there is in basketball, because you know who at least one person is on at least 20 teams in basketball, right? So, and Doug and I were talking about this when I'm an old man. When I was back there, I knew who everybody was on the Sacramento Kings. I knew they were bad.
Back then it was different, man. Like it's evolved now, and it's like I paid attention to it so much more back then. I don't know, for some reason now it's you pay attention to the key players and that's it. And
right.
But back to this virtual reality thing. What exactly does that?
I love that. That's where you went with that.
Well, I didn't get to chime in, but like what? So like you're at the game.
You're able to watch the game from floor seats.
So like everywhere you look, it feels like you're there. Like would you see like the crowd too?
Wait a
Like
minute. Somebody's got to be wearing that, right? So somebody's wearing that headband, and like if Paula Abdul walks by, I'm gonna be. Is that what I'm looking at? What am I looking at?
It must be like a camera set up that can be. I don't know how that would work. It's beyond my comprehension. My brain doesn't.
People are
work.
going to pay for it.
DeAndre, he brings this thing up, throws his curveball.
And he doesn't even have the
and
info.
yeah.
I was asking if you guys knew about it. I heard about it.
See,
I only saw the commercial for it, and I was like, I don't know if I would want to do that. That might be like a headache. Remember the original IMAX movies that were like 35 minutes, but you're like going down snow hills
Yeah,
and
you
all
felt
that. No
like
one's
it was-
talking. You're like, that was worth $40.
People were gripping the seats because they felt like they were going to fall out of it. On the
But
hills.
I think when you said something about attention, I think people's attention spans are so short because
Yeah.
nobody's paying attention to. They're talking about the average time the baseball game takes now, and now it's creeping up to over
45
3
hours.
Well, they're saying it's like 3 hours and 18 minutes, right? The average game. I understand that might wear on you. What were you planning on doing anyway?
Right.
Like you're sitting at your house, and you want to go out for the night. You're outdoors. How could you not enjoy it? You're watching a sport. There's plenty to do. They've made all these gimmicks around the stadium. Like when I was a kid, all you could do is how fast could you throw? You know, you go and pay $5 and do that.
Right.
Obviously, I was the best ever. And then don't laugh about that. So then we would. Now there are like these.
This is where you plug your
simulators.
team, your softball team.
First of all, I just want to say we got our championship T-shirts last week. That's how long it
I'm
took.
surprised
Yeah.
you're not wearing it.
I'm saving that.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's going to be getting married. And I need my, fall league championship. I'm telling you, the Pit should sponsor the team. Actually, the Pit can't because then they'll go over the Morris Media logo and that ain't going to work out.
Thank you.
But the people are complaining about how long a baseball game takes. They don't mind that they go to a football game. You have to sit through halftime that entire time for half an hour and all the commercial breaks. There's no difference in the two other than people say baseball is boring.
Well, that's the thing. Like in a football game, there's just so much more action going on. The baseball is just such a more slower paced sport. I don't mind it. I don't mind going to a game. It's actually I find it more enjoyable than watching it on TV. But like I said, I haven't gone to it in a long time. But comparing it to watching football or basketball, it's a snail versus a rabbit. You know, basketball and football are so fast paced compared to the baseball, and it's just kind of a drag. Like it just drags on, man.
Did you like it better when everybody was all juiced up? And
Yes. Bring that back, Jose Canseco, and I want to see Sammy Sosa hit some home runs again.
I want to see Sammy Sosa not be. He's whiter than I am now. Have you seen him?
I
He said he
have.
has a skin condition.
Right.
I have the same skin condition.
What was that, back in the 90s? Was that 90s?
99 was the big home run chase. 98, 99.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything like that since. I wonder why.
Listen, those guys, they don't lift weights anymore, I guess. All I know is when at one time when I was younger, and there was one guy that hit 51 home runs, and everyone talked about George Foster with the Reds. I'm like, he must have been the best home run hitter ever. Then there was 13 guys that hit 50 home runs, and
In one
3 of them
season.
I was like, who is that guy? I've
Right.
never even heard of him.
You don't see it anymore, though. But will Bryce Harper hit 51 home runs?
Well, here's my question: is he going to hit 270? The guy, it's not like that guy he's not a 300 hitter,
Right.
Right, on average. He has 1 MVP. I'll give him that. But is he going to hold up? You got a guy that misses a lot of games because I understand when he's younger, he's running into walls and putting on a show and all that. But he's got kind of a knee issue. You paid a guy to play right field for you, $335 million. I don't see a lot of those guys at 39
For
years
13
old.
years. Like
13 years.
Like
But this is guaranteed, right?
It's absolutely guaranteed and no trade.
What's the motivation?
yeah, like what's the reasoning behind this? I
Because
never
he wants
understood
to
it.
raise his family in one city. So he's young.
So he's guaranteeing that's why he was going to stay there.
He said he wanted to be a free agent one time. Now, on the flip side of that, Manny Machado signs a 10-year deal with the Padres with a
$300 million.
Yeah, so he gets his $300 million. He signed first, but there's an opt-out in 4 years. When the Padres are in last place for the next 2 years in a row, you're going to be looking at your newest New York Yankee, right? That's A-Rod did the same thing.
Yeah.
Wins an MVP, last place team. You know what? I'm not liking this tax base here that I'm not paying any taxes in Texas. I want to pay 50-some% and go to the Yankees. And you know what? That guy was clutch because he got J-Lo, and if he was playing for the Texas Rangers, he wouldn't have had that. And I would have taken that deal.
So
well,
how
I would have been there after Diddy, and not the other people.
Diddy.
There were a lot of people in
What are we
between.
talking about here?
There was a J-Lo. Isn't that what we're talking about?
I met her. Anyways, I did actually a long time ago. But
He's always bragging about people
what?
they meet.
How old is Bryce Harper?
20, let's see.
Late
20,
20s?
26 years old. 26 years old.
All right, so they're talking almost 39. He'll be
Right.
right. Wow, that's.
Wow.
Do you think his career could possibly last that long
No.
with his bum knee?
No. It's not that it's bad, but when you have, the reason he's not catching anymore is because his knee is kind of, it's not the kind of thing he's going to miss 100 games. It's not like Albert Pujols.
Right.
First of all, let's admit that Albert Pujols, he signed that 10-year deal. I'm pretty sure that he was 41 years old when he did it. No one can find a birth certificate on the guy. He has missed more games than he's played with the Angels, and instead St. Louis wins the World Series without him. So what's that tell you? I don't believe in giving guys big money, but you guys are more the football guy. I'm the baseball guy.
Right.
You guys are more the football guys. Would you give guaranteed money to anybody in the NFL?
No. There's way too much chance.
What
for
about
injury
the guy in New England that you like so much? That Tim Brady guy.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, you like him?
Well, see,
Oh,
I'm
he
from New
loves-
England, so the
he
Patriots
loves
are
the
my.
Patriots.
I get ragged on all the time about it, but I mean, he's proven himself though. Let's be honest.
He has.
So, how many rings does he have, Mike?
I
How many
don't
was
know.
that?
He has 5 more than Jim McMahon. That's all that I know. No, I'm sorry, 4 more because he got one as a backup with the Green Bay Packers.
That doesn't count.
It does count.
It does
Oh,
count.
really? So
I'd
if
still
he pulled
wear
his
it.
hands out and he had 2 rings on, it doesn't count?
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
And they're massive rings.
All right, so if you're giving guaranteed money, let's talk about that.
Okay, guarantee money.
I'm going to say these names and I want yes or no answers.
Okay.
Antonio Brown, do you give him guaranteed money? Doesn't matter to the team. He goes to a new team. He's 31 years old, and he has that crazy caterpillar mustache
well,
going
well,
on.
How many years?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many years we talking?
4 years guaranteed at 31.
I can see 4 years. 13 years is just ridiculous to me because you don't know what's going to happen in that time frame.
Okay, so you're saying yes, DeAndre?
I'll give to him.
Yeah,
Le'Veon Bell.
for 4 years again. Are we just sticking to the 4 year
We're
standard?
gonna say 4 years. The only reason I say that is these guys are over. It's not like they're 22.
Right.
So
They're
they're
a
coming out of
little
the rookie
older
deal. But you got to pay that guy guaranteed money. NFL doesn't do guaranteed.
How much
money.
we talking? We're
talking $60 to $80 million.
per year or just for the whole?
No,
4
for
years?
the whole 4
Okay.
years.
I'll go. Yeah, I think the 4 years makes more sense than that's why when I saw this about 13 years, so many things can happen in that time, and that's guaranteed money. No matter he can get in a car accident,
Right.
become a quadriplegic,
Right.
and they still got to pay him.
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, unless there's some kind of
Well, there's an insurance thing.
I'm sure there's some kind of stipulations in his contract, but the 4 years in sports, a lot of things can happen. But 13 years, you just don't. I don't know. He could become a drug addict for all we know, and be in rehab for 8 of those years, and they still got to pay him.
But you know what, Doug? He could afford it if you want to be a drug addict. That's the thing.
Yeah,
But when I see these numbers that are going out, to me, it is-
massive numbers. Yeah.
but only a handful of teams can get involved. The fact that the Padres got involved in this, I don't even understand why they were talking to either one of these guys. That is not a big market. I mean, it's a big market in terms of
Right, I know what you're saying.
They
They're not.
make a lot of money in that area if you're going to live there, but
It's not.
they're not packing the park to see a
They're
guy
not like
hit
the Red
278.
Sox.
No. Well,
Back to my Boston roots, but
I was going to say, but Boston, New York, the Mets. I don't know what the Mets are doing. Maybe
Right.
they're overdone on their credit
Cleveland.
card deal. I don't know. Cleveland, they're
Right.
dumping their whole team.
right.
They're going to just rebuild from the rebuilding, I guess.
I think
Oh,
that's what
shit.
Cleveland does every year for every team they have. They start fresh.
They cut Collins.
Browns is coming. Just letting y'all know right now.
Hey, they were 50. They were 500 last year.
I think
last
he just
season,
means
so.
they might be on their way to Columbus. I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that. So you're cool with giving long-term contracts of 4
Well,
years?
when you
not
say
more.
3 or 4 years, to me, that's not super long time. I think at 31, you can pull 4 years off. You know, you can make 4 years work. But 13 years, I don't know. I just don't see that being a logical, financially sound decision for the management in that sense. But I guess we'll find out in 13 years how that pays off, huh?
We'll probably still be right here.
Yeah, I'll be dead, I think.
So what's your feeling on? My thought was, if Bryce Harper's got to narrow down to 2 teams and he won't sign with anybody, I'm not returning that phone call. I don't want anything to do with it, because that's fine. If we offered you $300 million, that's not good enough.
You're still undecided. Yeah.
Right.
Like, all
What's
right,
he going to do? Sit at home?
I'll take that $300 million and get 4 players. You know?
But that's what I don't understand. There are people out there, like they're saying in football, there's collusion, right? That these guys are like the Kaepernick situation. They're not going to sign him and all this. Well, he might get a shot next year, but think of the money that he missed out on, right? Yeah. So technically, he sat out,
right?
And he kind of got blackballed, but I don't know. I don't know how to comment on the situation, because not the social justice part of it. It is he sat out. His skills are going to be different at 29 than they were at 25. Right.
I mean, I can't imagine I'm sure he's still training. He has to be, right?
Yeah, he'll be on an NFL roster next year. Right. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, he got the short stick right there, because.
But in football, they can do that to you. They can make it so nobody will touch you. What's the guy? Ray Rice. Nobody would touch that guy.
Right.
Yet the same thing happens.
But they say that's not what's happening, but that's exactly what's happening.
Okay, but because there was video of that, right? And then the guy out of Kansas City gets in trouble, and what's he get? He gets punished by having to play for the Cleveland Browns.
Which is the worst punishment,
right.
I think.
I think the league mandated that.
If you get caught doing something wrong, you immediately go to the Browns.
Right.
That would be hilarious.
Back in the day, not today.
It'd be like the prison team.
We went to Super Bowl 3 years.
You must know if somebody has tickets.
Buy your tickets now.
That's all I'm looking at, is when you're giving these long-term deals, the difference in baseball contracts, like that's a big joke. If you can get in, I remember growing up and somebody saying, teach him how to throw left-handed, hit left-handed, and he'll never have to worry about anything his whole life. And that's true, because those jobs do last forever, and they pay you whether you're able to physically perform or not.
Right.
In football, as soon as you get hurt, it's over.
It's over.
And they don't care about you. No. Like the players
turn
union,
and burn.
As soon as you're out of the players union, like you're retired, you move on to a whole different set, and there's no benefits for you. I mean, Earl Campbell looks like, towards the tail end of his life, I don't even think that guy can walk anymore. And he gave everything he could to his team.
Well, like we meet a lot of these guys that used to play for pro teams, and they come in here, we talk to them, and they're doing something totally different now, because it's a short-lived career, the NFL or any kind of sports team. Baseball, I think, is a longer career just because it's not so abusive on your body. But like there's guys that come into the station all the time. They used to play for OSU, and then they moved on to the big leagues, the NFL, and now they're doing different things. You have to figure out a way to keep going, obviously. But with these baseball players, you're making that kind of money. What do you got to do after that? You just sit on it.
Well, what do you do after the 13 years? You're still 39, 40 years old.
You sit on that $330 million. You invest that money. You buy your own team.
Great grandchildren to be rich.
You buy a barbecue place.
See, that'd be the way to go. You should put that out there. Listen, if
Bryce
Harper's listening, let's be fair. He could be listening. We're on Facebook Live. He could be bored, and he could want to buy in DeAndre. What's it going to take for Bryce Harper? Now, I want to tell you, you got $335 million. How much is he going to have to put in?
$330 million.
I
just want $1 million.
Just $1 million.
See, if that was me, I'd have said he's got to throw in at least $30 million.
$30 million
to start, because rib tips, right?
And he's got to start on.
Rib tips aren't cheap.
Yeah. He's got to start on dish first.
I don't want to scare him away.
Oh, you're going to make him work.
Yeah. He's got to learn every aspect of the kitchen.
I get it.
Like when they hire new people here, I tell them, show them how to do. Show them every department so they understand how it all works. So.
And it explains why no one lasts here more than 90 days.
That's why they all leave.
There's no new people here. Everyone's 70 and up.
They've been here for 30 years, and that's all they've done.
I want to ask you this, because we're talking about players getting money. I want to talk about teams not trying, right? So
Not trying.
So baseball has a revenue share that when other teams have to kind of filter money down, think of it as trickle-down economics, but like people actually see the checks for that.
Right.
So when you look at the teams with the lowest payrolls, it's Tampa Bay, Oakland, Chicago White Sox, Miami Marlins, and Pittsburgh Pirates.
Those are the lowest, huh?
Yes, but so Tampa Bay won over 90 games last year, just didn't make the playoffs because of Boston and New York. One won the division, one got the wild card. Oakland makes the playoffs basically, let's say, 3 out of 4 years consistently, but they use the Moneyball philosophy. Why would I go to see anybody play for the Miami Marlins? Why am I? That's part of why attendance is bad. If your team just is the worst, and they're not even trying, why are you going to get my $50 a ticket
Why
or
am I
$80
going
a
to
ticket?
pay money for parking, beer, and tickets?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So their actual salary that they paid at all their players is $86 million
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay is only 46. That's a big difference right there.
Right. But the difference is that
Tampa Bay was won 90 games.
Right, because the philosophy of they change things up. So what they would do is we're not putting big money into certain players. They traded those people off for younger people
That want to win.
But hey,
it's the Patriots philosophy right there.
Well, they kind of did the Patriots philosophy, but like Little League. I got a guy who can throw really hard for a couple innings, and that's going to be the starter.
Right.
He's out after maybe,
3
let's
or
say,
4, right.
12 hitters. And then I'm bringing in another guy. So I'm gonna try to win this like the Little League way. Now,
Utilize all these players.
but they still won 90-some games.
Right.
The difference is these other teams, so that someone will come out to the ballpark, will sign like an
Some big
aging
name.
veteran. Yeah.
Right.
So for me, Baltimore, I mean, obviously they're going to win 100 games this year. No, they're not.
Yeah. No.
They're going to be the worst of the worst, and it's going to be the worst summer ever.
For you.
Right. But Adam Jones is sitting out there, a guy that he's not a Hall of Fame player, but he's a Baltimore community guy.
Right.
He's sitting out there and nobody wants to sign him. If they bring him back,
People would go.
I will want to see it.
Right.
Because it'll be his last time. I didn't know that was going to be the last chance he was going to
Right.
That will get me out of the ballpark. I saw Cal Ripken play when the Orioles were terrible. I went
But you went just to see him. Right.
because I'd seen him before, but I thought I'm going to go on this
It's gonna
Bob
be my last
Seger
chance.
end of the tour type thing.
Right.
But I'm not going to see who in Miami do I know? If Dan Marino plays, I'll go see the Miami Marlins. I'm not going to go.
I would actually go see that too. I'd fly
I'd wear that
to
merchandise,
Miami.
though.
I'd wear my isotoner gloves.
Do
you remember that? Remember when he used to-
And he was in Miami.
Didn't he
Went
do
with-
pantyhose too?
That's Joe Namath.
Oh, that was.
And that was in the 60s.
I
How
know.
old are you?
I used to watch the Brady Bunch when I was a kid, and Joe Namath was
You
on
still
that.
watch the Brady Bunch.
I do, secretly.
Um,
Marsha.
yeah, Marsha was.
What happened to her? All right. Anyways, we're going on a weird tangent
She
here.
hadn't gotten the drugs.
See, this is what we're talking about. Well, like we have
We're
this
trying to
idea
walk- yeah,
what we're
we-
going to talk about, and the next thing you know, we're talking about Kias.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Do you remember
Kias.
when Blake Griffin jumped over a Kia?
Yeah, that
There you
dunk.
go. That was brought to you by Kia. We'll just throw in a cheap plug.
Buyers Kia. Okay.
So, again, the amount of money that one guy is going to make is close to what all of the Tampa Bay Rays are going to make.
That's close to all these teams together.
Yeah.
These 5 teams.
You got 3 guys that are going to make
the
basically
salary of 5 teams in 1
Right.
year.
So 25 guys on the roster plus who any.
But those guys are going to be playing for the next 30 years, though, because their contracts are so long.
Yeah.
So, what? I just say they somehow he gets injured and he's out for good.
Still paying him.
That's just
Still
insane to
paying
me
him.
that there's not some kind of stipulation that
Darryl
says
Strawberry and Dwight Gooden got suspended from baseball and still got paid.
still got paid. Huh?
Because it was drug related. It wasn't performance related.
Right.
But again, those guys were hanging on making $2 million
Right.
a year.
It's
not
not
18.
330 million, right?
Right.
Wow. So what's your thought? So you think it's a crazy idea to pay somebody that kind of
I
money
think
for a
it's
13-year
inevitable
contract?
that the reason why is the company that does that at-bat app is owned by Disney.
Really?
Disney's going to pump in as much money into that, to baseball as they can because they own the app.
Are they going to start
They
having
also
Star
own
Wars
ESPN.
characters at the baseball field?
Have you seen that there's a Star Wars bobblehead thing in every single ballpark that's officially licensed?
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I haven't been
They're
to a park in 13 years, so.
Well, DeAndre went when he was 5, so that's the original Star Wars. But what I'm saying is there's so many gifts and gimmicks to get you in the park, and people are now going just to get the item and then
Yeah.
putting it on eBay. And if
Yeah.
you think I'm joking, there's a whole thing on YouTube of they're called Bobble Sniper or whatever, and these guys will go out just to get the bobblehead and they'll leave. They're not even going. They're paying to sell the item.
Right. Well, they're one-time things you can only get that
Right.
one, so they're collector's items.
But like I'm saying, Disney owning the app, they also
how
own
does
ESPN.
Disney get involved with this? Like,
Because they're buying the technology. So all these apps
Okay.
that you see, the WWE app is not owned by Disney.
This is
but
what
it
he
was
plugs
created
Brock
that way.
Lesnar as the
Brock
greatest
Lesnar is the
athlete of all time.
greatest champion that we've ever had. DeAndre, tell me if there's somebody different.
He's
That's
like,
a
who's
yes.
Brock Lesnar?
That's a yes. He knows who he is. If,
I know who that is.
if Brock Lesnar came to the pit,
Yeah,
I
he's that
guarantee
mountain
you
over there.
they'd have pictures and autographs all over the restaurant.
Now, speaking of the pit, let's plug that.
Yeah.
Where are you guys located at?
We're in Northern Lights Shopping Center off Cleveland Avenue. The address is 3545 Cleveland Avenue. So we're about half a mile south of Morse Road.
Okay.
About 5 minutes from Easton Mall.
How long you guys been there?
Almost 3 years now.
3 years. So what's your favorite meat that you guys have there?
Favorite meat?
It's a weird thing to ask a guy, I know, but get your mind out of the
I
gutter.
like
Mike.
that you
I
didn't
can
go
see
that
you
route.
thinking.
I went that route, and he was just like, "Let me answer this seriously."
I mean, you got to be a barbecue guy, right? If you
Yeah.
part owner of a
He said
barbecue
he's from
place.
Cleveland, and Cleveland is barbecue.
I don't
Cleveland
have a
ain't
favorite,
nothing else.
man. Everything is really good. Our signature is our Polish boy, so it's a beef Polish sausage.
Okay.
With fresh cut fries, coleslaw, barbecue sauce on top. So I would say if you go there, you get that.
Okay.
To start off.
I love me some barbecue, man.
Mac and cheese,
Mac and cheese too.
number one. Greens.
I'm gonna have to go to the gym just talking about this.
I'm gonna drive by the gym with some takeout. Doug, how we doing on time? I think we're
I
almost.
think we're getting wrapping it up.
DeAndre, thanks for sitting in and taking us to
Goes
pieces.
by so
Thanks
fast.
for having me. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
and
me.
I think we all agreed on two things today: that Bryce Harper totally worth it, and
And the pit.
and the
Barbecue.
pit. Those are the two things. Get out there. All right, you've been listening to Middles Open. We'll see you next weekend.